What's going on, everybody? Live from the third largest city in the United States on Wu-Tang Wednesday. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here from Chicago. How you guys doing? Glad you made it back. You're watching us on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon-supported devices. You're listening to us. My partner in Portland, Oregon, Jay Gliss. Jay Gliss is here. We're having a sound issue on his end that we are efforting a fix up on. If you guys can hear me, I need you to let me know in the chat. So Weirdo, Lyric, Elizabeth, Ken, Marquise, John, Hector, and Melinda. If you guys can hear me, just type yes, please, so that I can know that you guys are picking up what I am putting down. If you're watching on YouTube, hit me with a yes so I know that you can hear me. I'm doing various, I don't know American Sign Language, but I'm signing that. Can you hear me? Just let me know if you can. We are glad that you are with us today. We got a show today for the ages, my friend. And Gliss is telling me that he can hear me. Okay, cool. This is going to be weird, but we're going to make it happen. We have a guest today that is absolutely out of his mind when it comes to NCAA hoops. Greg Hoops Peterson will be joining us today, and that's going to be during our sports segment, and it's going to be really good. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate you, brother. It's going to be really, really good. Hi, Lyric. How you doing? Tete's in Illinois. Elizabeth is in Maine. Ken's in California. Marquise is in Washington State. John is in Oregon. Probably the person that got the sound kind of weird on Gliss's end. Hector's in New York, and Melinda is in Virginia. It is a really good day for you guys to be here today. I'm glad that you're here. We're going to make it all happen. There's a lot to talk about. We'll get to all of that in a second. Allow me, though, to tell you, please, if you want to catch the lineup of Backchannel.tv, you can do that starting at 6 a.m. Eastern time with Haley and Allison. And then at 8 a.m. Eastern, it's Liv Harrison. At 10, Jam and Renee, our buddies, Jam and Renee. At noon, Sir Anthony Davis is with you. And at 2 Eastern time, your pal Hal. And then it's us at 4 Eastern on the drive. And we really appreciate it. I know I say that all the time, but I mean it. I really appreciate you all being here. A couple of things. I'm stepping out after the show. So I am half dressed. I have on shorts and like outside shorts. It's not hot outside in Chicago, but I have on shorts. I want to wait because I want my pants to be when I get out there. And what else is going on with me? I have a new camera that I don't have attached yet because I am IT stupid, but I will have it ready when you guys see me on Friday. It's a bigger, brighter me. I have this light on as bright as it could possibly be. I am blinded by the light, wrapped up like a nope, because I think he says something that I can't say. Or maybe I can say it. We'll find out one of these days when I do it. And there was really something else I wanted to tell you, and now I can't remember it. It wasn't super important, but it was important enough. And I think that's all. So let me check one more time in our chat real quick. Michael in Texas is his first time joining us. It's same for Ken. So we thank you both for being on the show. And hello to everybody. Whew. Here we go. It's time to check some headlines, and then we will catch back up with Gliss, hopefully, after these headlines. Democratic leaders abruptly abandoned plans for let me try that again. Democratic leaders abruptly abandoned plans for a fresh infusion of $15.6 billion for battling the COVID pandemic today, clearing the way for House debate and passage of a vast government spending bill that is anchored by aid for Ukrainian and European allies. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced that the COVID-19 spending would be removed from the package after rank-and-file lawmakers objected that it would be paid for in part by cutting previously approved pandemic assistance to their states. We must proceed, Pelosi said, or wrote. Gliss, is that you? Thought I heard your voice, brother. With the government-wide $1.5 trillion legislation because of the urgency of keeping Ukraine and the bill's spending for other programs, Pelosi wrote in a letter to colleagues. Quote, it is heartbreaking to remove the COVID funding, and we must continue to fight for urgently needed COVID assistance, but unfortunately, that will not be included in this bill, she said. We'll dig deeper into this in a little bit. Bliss.
Can you hear me?
Hey!
That was really weird. I don't know what happened. It was funny because I went to a different browser to try to check to make sure you were all good on your end and that I could hear you on YouTube, and it wouldn't let me play the video. It said something about my audio was rendered or something like that.
It's that guy from yesterday, Moon, whatever his name was.
And it told me, so YouTube told me to shut my computer down. So I was like, all right,
YouTube talk to you.
I'll give that a try. And it worked. So YouTube solved my problem.
Wow. And what may be a first.
Yeah.
YouTube is a problem solver. Well, welcome. This is Jay Gliss, everybody. Gliss is in Portland, Oregon. People come to the show to see you more than they do to me.
No.
How are you?
I'm good, man.
Hoops is on today, buddy. Oh, I can't wait. I'm more excited than I was yesterday, and I was pretty damn excited. I saw the commercial you sent me.
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
and that just came out. You know, a little trivia. Do you recognize the voice?
No.
That is Brent Musburger.
Whoa, you know he's Captain Gambling.
Because that's right. Because you remember when he left CBS, he went and this is the network. So my buddy Greg, who's coming on the show, he works with Brent Musburger.
And it's pronounced Vision, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm
gonna run it back during the break. I'll make sure. I don't want to screw this up. This is a big time deal. This guy knows his hoops. Does he? I'm going to ask him, but does he really do a podcast while he runs 12 miles?
That's exactly what my thought was too. I need to know the truth behind that. I wouldn't put it past him.
Wow.
This guy, like I said, I don't want to say this like in a bad way. I think I said this to you before. He kind of reminded me of Rain Man when I worked with him.
That's how the commercial is presented.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, he literally, like, I would go into the studio, like the little producer studio when I worked with him, you know, because I would come in there to get the log or something while or he would come in because his show was after mine, and he would come in, and I mean, he always was just like buried in college basketball, and the only other thing he ever did besides watch college basketball and produce a radio show was run. So there might be truth behind that. So we're gonna have to ask him.
I'm ready. We should probably show some of that commercial too.
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah, we'll do that close to me. I'll try to get it loaded up so that
the folks can see what we're talking about. It's a beautiful spot, and he is really weird. He's very much a basketball savant for real.
Yeah. And he's a personality. He's an interesting guy, but he knows his basketball. That's for sure.
Hey man, Della. I think that says Della because I can't see where crap. I'm gonna try to make my screen bigger. Delia says hello. Yeah. And Elizabeth has joined the stream as well. Hey. I don't mean to sound so drab. It's stunning when people say hello. And Michael's on the stream too. Hey Michael, how are you? But I want to get back to this Nancy Pelosi thing about them taking $15.6 billion out of the COVID pandemic money to give to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
How you folks feeling about that? Yes, we should give money to the Ukraine, or no, we shouldn't. Reach us right now at backchannel.tv. You can also leave a review of the show there. Go on YouTube. There's a live chat there. Please put yes or no. And if you are on Amazon, yes, that's the right word. If you're on Amazon, on an Amazon supported device, you can start with the word say and then yes or no. Should we have taken $15.6 billion out of the COVID pandemic money that was for you and me and for everybody that suffered for the last 3 years to give to the Ukraine? No shade to the Ukrainians at all. Just saying we couldn't come up with $15.6 billion without having to have it in that bill. How's this going to work? We'll get deeper into it. Also, there's a story that we're going to talk about a $1.5 trillion thing we're doing for somebody else. I'm telling you, we got money. I don't know why people keep saying America's broke. America's not broke at all. If they could come up with $1.5 trillion and Don't get me started. Um, the other story that we're going to get into very shortly, a Russian airstrike devastated a maternity hospital today in the besieged port city of Mariupol amid growing warnings from the West that Moscow's invasion is about to take a more brutal and indiscriminate turn. Ukrainian officials said at least 17 people were wounded in the attack. The ground shook more than a mile away when the Mariupol complex was hit by a series of blasts that blew out windows and ripped away much of the front of one building. Police and soldiers rushed to the scene to evacuate victims. The was not in there, by the way. I had to add it because somebody at the AP is slipping. Carrying out a heavily pregnant and bleeding woman on a stretcher. Another woman wailed as she clutched her child. In the courtyard, mangled cars burned and a blast crater extended at least 2 stories deep. And finally, in our headlines today, more than 3 years after Jussie Smollett was told police he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack on a dark, cold Chicago street, all of the questions swirling around the actor, from whether he staged a fake attack to why he would do such a thing, now boil down to 2. Will he admit he lied to police, and will he be sent to prison? On Thursday, 3 months after a jury found him guilty of lying to police, those questions will be answered when Smollett, a one-time star of the television show Empire, returns for sentencing to the courtroom where he was found guilty of lying to police about an attack prosecutors contended he orchestrated himself. And that's a look at the headlines. And now I remember the other thing I wanted to say to everybody, and Gliss, you should probably join in on this. Got an email yesterday from the people who are the building manager of my building.
Okay.
Remember all that noise all yesterday?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. So along with that noise, they also complained about people talking too loud in their apartments. And I got to thinking, I am right next. I could put a hole through the wall. Not really, because these walls are pretty thick. But I'm not strong. But I could knock on my neighbor's wall and they would knock back. They could hear me. And I'm wondering, is it me that they're talking about where the noise is too loud in the apartments?
Could be.
I don't think I'm that loud, am I?
I don't think you're loud.
Now it makes me want to get loud, though, because in my role of rule breaker, I'm kind of like, yo. Okay, see, here we are. The top one over Gary T. Gliss, when you see it, it's VOM today. It's probably why your sound was working. When we come back, we're going to have stories from around the world. And Greg Hoops Peterson is on the show today to talk about the NCAA tournament and all things college basketball. You're watching The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv, also on YouTube, and you're listening to us on your Amazon-supported device. And we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. You're also checking us out on YouTube and on your Amazon-supported devices so that I don't get yelled at by my building manager, who's a sweetheart. I'm going to keep my voice low. Hey, Tay, what's up, man? Don't know who Asher Zabeh is, but VUM.today sounds like one of those websites. We may have to ask you to leave, sir. And Gary T is on as well on YouTube. Thank you all for joining us there. To our friends who are joining us on Backchannel.tv, Winnette. This is Winnette's first time on the show from Texas. Thank you so much. Um, and everybody, thanks. Truly appreciate it. Our poll question: should the United States be giving or taking? Should the United States? I'm sorry, take the 15 billion dollars that was earmarked for COVID relief out of the ominous omnibus spending bill. Ominous out of the omnibus spending bill, and, in order to get the bill passed, but because that money was allocated for the Ukraine. So should the U.S. be taking money out of that bill? Yes, they should, or no, they shouldn't. Please join in the chat, you guys. Join in the chat. I want to know what you're thinking. That's on backchannel.tv on YouTube, and you can ask your Amazon supported device to say, start with the word "say" and then say yes or no. Where are we? And yeah, that's what I want to know. I am very very curious. Tete is saying that I'll type it, or you can see it, Bliss. I think we'll work on that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But everybody else seems to be able to type in it. I don't get it. We'll figure it out though. Okay, we got so much show. I don't have a lot of time to dilly dally and talk stuff. Mark hasn't gotten here yet. There's so many things happening. Because you know when Mark gets here, that's when the show takes a turn. Anyway, the war in the Ukraine, if you can call it a war, the invasion in the Ukraine has taken a turn. Ukraine is warned of dangerous radiation leaks from the Chernobyl power station unless Russia allows an urgent ceasefire for crews to reconnect it to the national power grid. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said today the power plant would be connected to backup diesel generators after officials said it was disconnected from the national power grid due to Russia's military actions. However, he said this was only a temporary solution and warned that a failure to fully reconnect the site could lead to the release of radioactive substances. Quote, reserve diesel generators have a 48-hour capacity to power the plant, Kuleba said in a tweet. After that, cooling systems of the storage facility for spent nuclear fuel will stop, making radiation leaks imminent. Putin's barbaric war puts entire Europe in danger, Kuleba continued. He must stop it immediately. I know that the Chernobyl thing is a thing, but a bigger thing is they bombed a hospital, a children's hospital, man. I know only 17 people got hurt and all, but if there was ever going to be a time when the brakes got put on what's happening now, this is kind of it. This is it. And now they've taken Chernobyl off the grid. So now you're not only going to invade the country, you're going to poison everybody. I don't get it, man. I am very surprised that Putin has not. I take it back. I'm not surprised that Putin has done what he's done or what he's ordered. I'm surprised that hitting the hospital, the children's hospital, did not shake up the entire world and make everybody, China included, say, "Hey, it's time to stop." The fact that Chernobyl is off the grid is also scary. I don't understand how that part helps Putin. So now you're invading the country and you're going to kill as many human beings as you can for a country you may not even be able to, including your own soldiers, for a country you may not even be able to set foot in for 20 or 30 years. If Chernobyl goes, so goes the nation, if you will. I don't get it. I don't get it. Somebody can explain that to me. And then you have the United States saying, well, we need to give all this COVID money. There are people here who still have to pay rent. There are people here who didn't work. Even though the job numbers are great right now, there's still a lot of people who are out of work, who completely lost their jobs. You got all these countries cutting ties with Russia, making it hard for Russia economically to survive, and Putin is still bombing away. It's very it's disheartening. Yeah, it's disheartening to say the least, and I do not get it. Gliss, I'm sorry, I interrupt the serious news to go to our chat for a moment. Someone said, "How is this a game?" This isn't a game. Someone said, "You're lovely," or I don't know who that is. Um, Tom is here. This is the first time Tom's on the show. Um, who is you talking about? Okay, let me get back to this for a second, you guys. This is called The Drive. Let me make sure I have the camera on so I can see me. Hey, everybody. Um, this is called The Drive. I'm pointing at you because I'm talking to you. I'm Mario Smith. That's Gliss down there. Gliss is in Oregon. We're doing a talk show. You're probably playing a game on Amazon on Alexa, and that's fine. And go back to your gaming if you like. But this is a real human being show with two real human beings, and we talk about the news and stuff. But I'm curious because I ask people from time to time, "How'd you get here? How old are you guys?" So Xavier, April, Tom, Wynette, this is a game. I want to take Wynette out of it. This is a game, Tom and Xavier, or Xavier. How old are you guys? And are you what games are you playing on the device you got? Because right now we're doing it's not a news show. It's I don't know, Gliss, what would you call it? It's a people ask me and I don't have an answer.
It's hard to
I don't know what
it's hard to fit into a nice little package, isn't it?
Like if you said, "Are you a cooking show?" I could be like, "No, we don't cook."
No.
But hey, Rock, it's my girl.
We talk news and music and sports.
Yeah.
Pop culture a little bit.
Yeah.
Some random stupid stuff that we talk about.
Yeah. And then we have moments like this where I have to stop the show to explain the show because you guys are saying stuff like pizza and who he is pretty. What? Who is he? Who are you talking about? I just want to know what the hell's going on before I dive back into the news because this is important stuff. And if you guys are playing games, how did you get from the game to here? It must mean you're intended to be here. You're supposed to be here. All right, we're gonna try this again, Gliss. Let's see. Second story. It couldn't be any worse than this one, could it? Depends on what I pick, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
I think that's how I'm going to go today. I'm just going to pick something. Okay, so we were talking about the $15 billion that the U.S. decided you didn't need for COVID relief. Well, they reached a deal on Ukraine aid, and it's $1.5 trillion. So I guess they needed some of that money. You know, the thing is, when you take money from one thing, you got to put it somewhere else. So maybe they just said, hey, look, we need to, cinch it up. So congressional leaders reached a bipartisan deal today, providing $13.6 billion to help Ukraine and European allies, plus billions more to battle the pandemic as part of an overdue $1.5 trillion measure financing federal agencies for the rest of this year. Okay, so they took the money out and put it in a different bill, and then they decided, hey, that's cool, we can do that. Though a tiny fraction of the massive bill, the money countering a Russian blitzkrieg that's devastated parts of Ukraine and prompted Europe's worst refugee crisis since World War II, ensured the measure would pass with robust bipartisan support. President Joe Biden requested $10 billion for the military, humanitarian, and economic aid last week, and Democratic and Republican backing was so staunch that the figure grew to $12 billion on Monday and $13.6 billion yesterday. Quote, we're going to support them against tyranny, oppression, violent acts of subjugation, Biden said at the White House. And then he ran down that ramp, Bliss, and he was gone. He was out in the wind. He doesn't even get in the car anymore. He just runs home because he wants to show everybody that he's still fit, even though he's 80 something years old. Party leaders plan to whip the 2,741 page measure through the House on Wednesday, today, and the Senate by week's end. Though that chamber's exact timing was unclear, lawmakers were spurred by the urgency of helping Ukraine before Russia's military might makes it too late. They also faced a Friday deadline to approve the government wide spending measure or face a weekend election year federal shutdown. As a backstop against delays, the House planned to pass a bill Wednesday, keeping agencies afloat through March 15th. Okay, you're ugly. All right. I'm just catching up on the chat, man. David's in South Carolina. Hey, David. All right, fine. I'm not for everybody, bro. It's cool. I'm not trying to date you. What's your name again? This is a game. You're safe wherever you are. He lives in games, by the way, Gliss. This is a game. And David is in South Carolina, as I said. I used to work on the radio in South Carolina, David. It was crazy. One day we're going to have a whole section where I just talk about that.
You always tease that.
You know what? Screw it. We'll do it now. So here we go. All right. When I left broadcast, do you know who Rick Party is?
He sounds familiar.
So Rick Party is
the name rings a bell.
He does the voiceover for ESPN for their the first evening show that they do, that 6 o'clock Eastern show.
Okay.
This is Sports Center. That's
right.
my good friend Rick Party. And Rick and I went to broadcasting school together many, many years ago. When I finished broadcasting school, I was looking for a gig because I was like, I can't get on the radio anyplace. And then I did some stuff with him here in Chicago at WGCI in the late 80s, early 90s. I played a black Italian by the name of Vinny Spinacci. I really did. And so then when it was over, and when that part of his radio life came to an end, he went down to Atlanta, did some stuff in the South, moved around a bit. And there was a job that came up at WHYZ in Greenville, South Carolina. So I took the job. I did I had the weirdest shift. It was like 5 a.m. until like 8 on Sunday mornings. Once a week. That was my whole job. I did not have a job while I was in South Carolina. I lived at a motel that I can't remember the name of, but they had red clay in the pool.
Okay.
So I called it the Rancho Relaxo. You may have heard this part of the story before. And it was terrible. It's one of the worst experiences of my life. So I spent a month in South Carolina. My job ended when I allegedly got into a fight at a bar in Greenville, which I didn't get into a fight. They wanted to get rid of me because I wasn't very good at the time. The guy who I used to work for, whose name I'm definitely going to say, it was Earl Boston was his name. And Earl Boston really did not like me. And subsequently, a few months later, a guy that worked there, I think his name was Michael, he was an expert karate man. And he proceeded to beat up the guy that fired me, not because of me. It's because of karma. Beat him up. Yeah. And then I was at WHYZ for a month. I left Chicago, Illinois, while I was out in the South Suburbs. I left the South Suburbs on October 1st. And I left Greenville, South Carolina on the 31st of October. I had a bottle of something on a Greyhound bus, and I rode my butt back home, and I had to go face my family because I was supposed to make it.
Right.
Man, it didn't happen. Our room was full of junk. They had thrown my brother-in-law, who's now dead, so I could say it without fear of me having to remind him that he actually did it. I had a delivery of the Chicago Tribune, I believe it was, and he threw all the Tribunes in my room because he was mad that I left. So when I got back, I couldn't open up the door because it was a month worth of Sunday and Monday through Saturday, like a weekly thing of papers in my room. So every time I see somebody from South Carolina, I have an instant flashback, and I'm like, well, damn, South Carolina truly sucked, but I enjoyed my time while I was there. The other thing that happened in South Carolina, and then we're going to take a break, I got my hair cut at a place called Schoolboys in Greenville, and Schoolboys was like in the middle of nothing. But these were brothers from Washington, D.C., and they moved down to South Carolina. Big, huge, now Commanders fans, right? Huge fans. They had all kinds of Super Bowl stuff when back in the day, just, everything all on the walls was all Washington stuff. And so I left there. I got a haircut when I had hair. And then I beat it, Rock. I had hair. I know Rock, so I know what she's doing. I had hair. And so I left. I get the haircut, and I go into this bar. And it's these two gentlemen sitting at the bar. There's a Confederate flag in there, which I see, but I'm not paying attention to because I don't care about the flag. I want beer. So I go sit down at the bar, and I go, hey, yo, what kind of beer you guys got? And he looked at me, and he looked at his partner, and then he looked at me again, and he said, we ain't got no beer. And I was like, sir, I am in a bar. I want a beer. I got money. What's up? What kind of beer you got? You got foreign or domestic? Because I'm a smart ass at this point. And he goes, we ain't got no beer and we ain't open. And I look around the bar, and then the flag caught my eye, and I went, oh, you're not open. And then I left. So yeah, Greenville, South Carolina. See, this is why
sounds
it takes
like
so
a
long.
Pleasant experience.
It was the worst. Let me explain something about bad and horrible. It was both. If I could curse, I would all over the place. It was awful. South Carolina itself is a beautiful state. Greenville is an interesting city. I went all over the joint, man. I had fun. I went to a really great concert. I saw Public Enemy and U2 at William Bryce Stadium where the Gamecocks play. All that. It was great. That part. But WHYZ. Oh, and to end the story, the guy that owned the station went to jail for embezzlement because he was bouncing checks like a Spalding basketball all over the state in South Carolina.
Well, it sounds like he got his eventually. Twice.
And that's story time with Uncle Mario. He got his, he did. Terrible ownership. The guy that got beat up, Earl Boston, if I saw him in a crowd and he was getting beat up, I'd save him, but then I'd beat him up right after I got rid of everybody else. That's how I roll. All right, and that's the news around the world. Segment sabotaged by Mario Smith.
That was way more fun and interesting. I mean, not that the news isn't interesting, but yeah.
Well, my experience in Greenville, South Carolina, is the reason why I'm here today, and I should wrap all that up. So that failed. I came back home. While I was down there, I saw a poet by the name of Hakeem Madhubuti on television, on their public television. And the first place I went when I got back was the Jerry Springer show, where two friends of mine were on the show. So I'm in the audience on the show. Yeah. And I met a guy by the name of Reggie Gibson. Reggie Gibson wrote the poetry for the movie Love Jones that another guy I met that day, Ted Witcher, who was the director of it. At the time, he was a page for Jerry Springer. Reggie invites me to this place called Spices to go do poetry. I didn't know anything about poetry at the time. Well, I knew about poetry. I mean, I know what a poem was, but I wasn't writing then. But I was trying to find a way to get my voice out since the radio thing had obviously failed. I get there, and the first person I see at this club was the guy I saw on television in South Carolina, Hakeem Madhubuti, and that's when I knew. I'm like, I'm going to start writing poetry, and I did that for a long time. Got published. I'm in a book called The Breakbeat Poets. That's a Haymarket Press book. And poetry took me all over the place, and it led me to a radio station here in Chicago called WH. Nope, that was in that crap hole that I was in South Carolina. It was WHPK, and that's where I met Gary T and a bunch of really great people. And so I end all that by saying, persevere. Screw them. Even when you think you failed, that's not failure. That's just practice for the thing when it happens. And that's all you need to know. We should have like a ding, 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 ding noise.
Like the more you know.
The more you know, yeah. That was fun. I got that off my chest. I feel like I'm not going to pass out now.
I love it.
All right. I can't tell this story again for at least 6 months. If we're here in 6 months. We'll be back in a moment with more of The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, Hey Rocky, and on your Amazon supported devices. We will be right back. Welcome back to Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and your Amazon supported device. I'm being asked to share the pics of my hair when I had hair. I am actively looking for said pic of me with hair. To the person that asked, Rocky, you can ask your brother, Shoes, because he knows that's how we met. I had dreadlocks. I really did have dreadlocks. How dare everybody laugh at the same time? How dare all of you? I had dreadlocks for real. Mateo, what's up? How you doing, Laura? Colleen, hey, David. And this is a game again. Said that I was ugly, and that's great. Thanks, man. Because there's nothing I like more than positive reaffirmation. That's the word I was looking for. Gliss, I am looking for those picks. While I'm looking for those, could you do me a favor? Let's play that spot of hoops.
Okay. All right. Let me.
This is
pull
Craig.
up.
This is Craig Hoops Peterson. He's going to be on our show later, and this is the most brilliant thing I've seen all day. There you go.
There is no other college basketball betting analyst quite like him. His passion is unparalleled. His work ethic, unrivaled. He handicaps every game, every day, all season long. He knows the strengths, weaknesses, and backstory of every player on every team. He drops a podcast 365 days of the year, even hosting one for over 25 hours straight. Sleep is not an option for him. He stays fresh by running 12 miles a day, every day, while doing his podcast and answering your tweets. Some call him a savant, some call him a machine, some call him G-Unit. He is Greg Hoops Peterson.
Download
Greg Hoops Peterson, and he will be on in a little while with us here on the drive. Today is Wu-Tang Wednesday, in case you forgot. Wu-Tang loves children. I being a child. I am really, really looking hard for these pictures. Trust me, I am. I want to share them with everyone and fully embarrass myself. Once I find it, though, I got you guys. I got you. On our community report today, before we do get to our hoop segment, our sports segment for today, a man here in the U.S. got a pig heart a couple months ago, and he was the first person to get a pig heart transplant. And he died today after 2 months. And there's a moral to this story that I will share with you in a moment. It's my personal opinion. And it may not be agreed upon by everyone, but I'm going to give it anyway because that's why I'm here. The first person to receive a heart transplant from a pig has died 2 months after the groundbreaking experiment. The Maryland hospital that performed the surgery made that announcement this morning. David Bennett, 57, died Tuesday at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Doctors didn't give an exact cause of death, saying only that his condition had begun deteriorating several days earlier. Bennett's son praised the hospital for offering the last-ditch experiment, saying the family hoped it would help further efforts to end the organ shortage. We are grateful for every innovative moment, every crazy dream, every sleepless night that went into this historic effort, David Bennett Jr. said in a statement released by the University of Maryland School of Medicine. We hope this story can be the beginning of hope and not the end. Doctors for decades have sought to one day use animal organs for life-saving transplants. Bennett, a handyman from Hagerstown, Maryland, was a candidate for this newest attempt only because he otherwise faced certain death, ineligible for a human heart transplant, bedridden and on life support, and out of other options. After the January 7th operation, Bennett's son told the Associated Press his father knew there was no guarantee it would work. Prior attempts at such transplants, or xenotransplantation, had failed largely because patients' bodies rapidly rejected the animal organ. This time, the Maryland surgeons used a heart from a gene-edited pig. Scientists had modified the animal to remove pig genes that trigger the hyper-fast rejection and add human genes to help the body accept the organ. Okay. So I say this to you with all due respect to the gentleman that died. You cannot, let me back up. I don't think this is the way to go about making something like that happen. First of all, you're using a pig's heart. Come on. I think I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but I imagine there's a better way than a pig's heart. Second, there's an organ shortage in our country for a lot of different reasons, and I am totally aware of it, and I get it, and it is not cool. It says a lot that this gentleman could not get a heart transplant, which most definitely would have saved him. But I think that says a lot about the inability to get past and to, or the inability to think bigger without being hogtied, if you will. Science is an amazing thing. Scientists are amazing people. I believe that there are other ways to make this happen without utilizing the heart of a pig who has a very unhealthy disposition to begin with. Sorry that gentleman died and all those things. I just contend that there's a better way to do it. And science has to come up with a better way. And the people who fund the scientists have to be willing to let that better way be the way. Does that happen? Will it happen? I don't know. That's the part of the job I don't do. But I just think if you're going to expect a different result, maybe you should try a different method. And perhaps we cannot do this pig heart stuff again, because that's bad. By the way, I've got 2 pics coming to you that prove I had, well, not that one, that prove that I had hair. I'm trying to find the one that I actually like, because it's a thing. You know what? You're going to get one of them. I got you, Gliss. Hold on. You want it now?
Sure.
All right. Let me send it to you. And I'll send it to this smart mouth woman that I know who's kind enough to be on the show today in the chat, because she thinks that I didn't have hair either. I'll show you all.
I mean, I think everybody had hair at some point.
well, we only can hope. So that's me on the left, Gliss, when you see it. Of course, you know it's me on the left because the other dude doesn't have hair.
Good point.
Yeah, you'll know it's me.
Yeah, it looks like you.
It's absolutely me. I was repping hard too. I'm gonna put that up real quick.
Yeah, let me
show the people.
Yeah, give me a minute and I'll get it up there.
Oh yeah. Oh, did I send that to someone else? Or did I send it to you twice? Oh no, I didn't push play on it to her. Okay. But yeah, the pig heart thing is very weird for me. It's hard for me to get behind that part. I don't know. Are there other animals who have hearts that are stronger than a pig? I would imagine so. Maybe that would work. Maybe the pig heart is closest to the human heart in terms of being able to hook up the arteries and the valves and all those things. But I think that it's like with the artificial heart. It's not meant to last forever. I can only imagine that man lived way longer than he was supposed to with a pig heart. It's just me, and I think it's weird. And I think it's weird. In Michigan, this is a story for you here. An ice fishing shanty, and I do mean shanty, was blown about a mile across a bay in Michigan by winds that neared 50 miles per hour, authorities said. A person on shore called Huron County dispatchers about 8 a.m. Sunday after seeing someone struggling with the shanty as it was being blown across the ice on Saginaw Bay off McKinley Township. Huron County Sheriff Kelly Hansen said in a news release. The shanty, which had been occupied by 3 men, was about 1.5 miles offshore when deputies arrived. Hansen said a fire department airboat was taken to the site for a rescue, but the 3 men eventually were able to make it across the ice to shore on their own. The men refused medical treatment. They told deputies that they spent Saturday night on the ice in the shanty and were aware of an approaching storm, but apparently took for granted the power of the winds, Hansen said. The men were making arrangements to return to shore when wind gusts began to push the shanty. The county township is located in Michigan's Thumb region, about 120 miles north of Detroit. Yo, not doing it. There's not a circumstance that I'm getting on the ice in a house to fish. As I had told someone a couple of days ago, if I want to go ice fishing, I'll go to the grocery store and stick my hands in the ice where the fish are. I'm not doing it. That's crazy. Gliss, if you had that great picture of me when I was much younger, and Farmer, there I am. Look at me. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Look at that.
That's my buddy Sam Lewis with Elastic Arts here in Chicago on the right. Look at your boy. Down back then. I was holding it down.
I love it.
Ain't that great? Man, I had a head full of hair, bro. I thought I knew everything. I didn't know crap. Yeah. There you go. Okay, that's it.
All right.
I was handsome as hell, too. Look at me. Man, I looked like I was about to fight.
You did.
I looked like I was about to fight someone.
Looking pretty hard right there. Yeah, just waiting.
Tay says that's 100% not me. That's me, bro. I had a head, and I've seen pictures of you, Tay. So
there it is. Look at that.
Come on now. That was really me. Back in the day. Boy, that was a good time. Border authorities find 52 lizards and snakes. In other news, border authorities find 52 lizards and snakes hidden in a man's clothing. Oh, this is one of my favorite ways to write this story, Gliss. You know what it is. A man who tried to slither past U.S. border agents in California had 52 lizards and snakes hidden in his clothing, authorities said Tuesday. The man was driving a truck when he arrived at the San Ysidro border, the border with Mexico, on February 25th, and was pulled out for additional inspection, U.S. Customs and Border Protection said in a statement. Agents found 52 live reptiles tied up in small bags, which were concealed in the man's jacket, pants pockets, and groin area. 9 snakes and 43 horned lizards were seized. Some of the species are considered endangered, authorities said. Smugglers will try every possible way to try and get their product, or in this case, live reptiles, across the border, said Sidney Aki, Customs and Border Protection Director of Field Operations in San Diego. In this occasion, the smuggler attempted to deceive CBP officers in order to bring these animals into the U.S. without taking care for the health and safety of the animals. The man, a 30-year-old U.S. citizen, was arrested. But why you gotta hide the snakes around your groin area, bro? What's that all about?
That bothers me.
I'm a little troubled.
Who wants to do that?
Well, apparently.
I mean, I guess
someone did.
I guess there's money involved, but come on now.
Do you think he had the horned lizards around his groin area? It's hard to keep those things in your pocket, I imagine.
I'm not really a fan of. I'm not a big reptile person, and I'm afraid of snakes. So
I'm not afraid of snakes. I'm just saying, I ain't smuggling those snakes in the country, and I'm definitely not putting them around my groin area.
No, I don't want snakes. I don't want snakes anywhere near me. Actually, we do have a snake.
Oh, really?
Well, my 13-year-old has a snake.
What kind? Like a garter snake or something?
No, it's like what's it called? It's red.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's red.
It's like one of the most common. For some reason the name's escaping me right now. But they're a pretty well known, docile snake pet. But so I had to sign off on that. But I grew up mostly in Northern California, and so whenever I would had to encounter snakes, it was rattlesnakes. So I think that's where my fear of snakes comes from.
I bet.
Yeah. So I don't mess with snakes. I'm like Indiana Jones.
Snake.
I just run.
Okay. Hey, can you put that picture of me up again real quick before we go to the break? Let's show it one more time, because I want to prove to people that that's me. That was me. I didn't have my hair is gray now. I've lived life. That was 1990. That was 1992.
That definitely looks like the 90s.
Yeah, oh yes, it was. I had a big giant canvas coat. I used to call it my Uncle Fester coat.
You're looking good, man.
That's what I'm saying. How dare you say that wasn't me, Tay-Tay? That was me.
It could be worse. When I had hair, I went to high school late 90s, early 2000s.
Am I going to see a fro picture of you one of these days?
No. I had, you got to think of the time period. I had the Eminem bleached hair.
Word.
And then it was like a little bit of NSYNC sometimes with like, the frosted tips.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You look good in that picture, man.
I know. I'm a handsome man. That dude said I was ugly. How dare you? What's his name? I forgot that quick. Whatever his name is, he said I was ugly.
This is a game, I think.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Hey, Monica. Hey, Claire. Hey, AJ. Hey, Mary Ellen, Ken, and Solo Man. Solomon, what's up? And Mateo. Hey, guys. Thank you for being here on the show. That was a picture of me from 1992. This is my picture of me now. Tay said it's a fake Rastafarian hat. I wish it was. I have another picture of me. I'll find it. Oh, don't worry. I swear to God, I will find it. Oh, that's funny. When we come back, we will have headlines, and then we're gonna check a look at the entertainment. It's it's Backchannel.tv. Look at me. It's Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and your Amazon supported devices that you're checking this out on. And we will be right back. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario Smith, live from Chicago, Illinois, the third largest city in the United States of America, number one in your heart. How you doing? I hope everybody's having a great afternoon. It's hour 2 and 57 minutes of the show. 57 minutes remaining. Greg, Hoops Peterson will be joining us in a little bit to talk about the NCAA tournament and all things college basketball, because all he does is study basketball, stay up for 25 hours, and run and do a podcast at the same time. I cannot wait to find out if that's true or not. Joining me from Portland, Oregon, is my main man, Jay Gliss. What's up, bro?
Not much. Wednesday. For some reason, it feels like Friday to me.
It does.
I feel like it's been a long week for some reason.
It has been. Remember, we had our big problem on Monday.
Oh, man. I already tried to forget about that.
Oh, I'm never going to forget that. And then we couldn't hear you earlier. That also scared me a little bit, but we're okay.
That I wasn't as worried about, because I was like, it had to be something, because I knew it was something that was happening in Restream. For some reason, it wasn't picking up my feed in Restream, because I actually checked on my iTunes to make sure I could hear sound coming out of my computer, which was fine.
Right. So. I don't want to make anybody mad at Backchannel. I'm just checking on another picture to see if I found one, but I'm not happy with that picture. I want to find another one of me with dreadlocks, just so people don't think that I'm out here faking the funk. I'm going to do headlines, and I will dive back into those. I have a million pictures of my godchildren, like they're my actual children. That's weird. All right, whatever. Let's go back on to the show. Do the show. Gary T said vintage Mario. Yeah, depending on who you ask. Yeah. Andrew asked me, what's 2 + 2? Word? Really? That's what we're going to do? What's 2 + 2? Okay.
Who asked that?
Andrew.
Oh, Andrew.
Andrew's in Oklahoma. He said, what's 2 + 2? Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't know the answer.
He knows. Andrew's in Oklahoma. But most Oklahomans know a lot of things. Democrats drop COVID-19 funds and clear the way for Ukraine aid. Democratic leaders abruptly abandoned plans for a fresh infusion of $15.6 billion for battling the COVID pandemic on Wednesday, clearing the way for the House to debate and pass a vast government spending bill that's anchored by aid for Ukraine and European allies. The Russians attacked a maternity and children's hospital today in the Ukraine. 17 people were hurt. And finally, Jussie Smollett, Dave Chappelle got in my head for a moment. Jussie Smollett will be in a courtroom tomorrow here in Chicago, Illinois, and he will find out whether he will spend time in prison or the courts will find out if he will admit that he lied about saying that he was attacked by two people on the absolute coldest day in the history, Gliss, in the written history of this 185-year-old amazing city. It was so cold that my boss and almost everybody in Chicago was like, don't come to work, stay home.
Don't do anything.
Don't do anything. Leave the water running so that your pipes don't bust and turn the heat on and just, be there. And he's out in the middle of the night going to Subway in the middle of the night.
It doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense.
Wearing a MAGA hat in Chicago? That's like seeing somebody with, well, I can't say that anymore because I saw someone with a Trump flag in Chicago. People are strange. When we come back, we'll have the entertainment report. I am really looking hard for this picture of me that I want you all to see. Here it is. Of me with hair on my head. And we're getting ready for Greg Peterson. That's going to be a really good time. So stay tuned, everybody. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv. And we will be back right after these words. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario Smith. I'm here in Chicago, and I am about to send. Oh my goodness, is it gone? It's gone. I'm going to send these pictures to Gliss though, so that he can see that I'm not playing with you guys, and we'll do that in a second. In entertainment news, The Godfather turns 50 years old, and Al Pacino had quite a bit to say about that. And I will tell you what he said right now as soon as the story pops up on my phone. Al Pacino on The Godfather, he says, it's taken me a lifetime to accept it and move on. 50 years later, the actor looked back on his breakthrough role. He says it's hard to imagine The Godfather without Al Pacino. His understated performance as Michael Corleone, who became a respectable war hero despite his corrupt family, goes almost unnoticed for the first hour of the film, until at last he asserts himself, gradually taking control of the Corleone criminal operation and the film along with it. But there would be no Al Pacino without The Godfather either. The actor was a rising star of New York theater with just one role in the movies in the 1971 drug drama The Panic in Needle Park, when Francis Ford Coppola fought for him against the wishes of Paramount Pictures to play the ruminative prince of his mafia epic. A half-century's worth of pivotal cinematic roles followed, including two more turns as Michael Corleone in The Godfather Part 2, the best one of the three, and The Godfather Part 3. The Godfather premiered in New York on March 15th, 1972. And 50 years later, you can imagine all the reasons Pacino wouldn't want to talk about it anymore. Maybe he'd be embarrassed or annoyed about how this one performance from the outset of his movie career still dominates his resume, or perhaps he has said all there is to say about it. But Pacino, now 81, in a telephone interview last month with the New York Times, was quite philosophical, even whimsical, about discussing the film. And among the things he says, I'm here because I did The Godfather. For an actor, that's like winning the lottery. When it comes right down to it, I had nothing to do with the film but play the part. Francis Ford Coppola said, when I actually read the Godfather book, I kept imagining him, and I didn't have a second choice. It was, for me, always Al Pacino. That's the reason why I was so tenacious about getting him to play Michael. That was my problem. Again, Pacino says, it's hard to explain in today's world, to explain who I was at the time and the bolt of lightning that it was. It felt like all of a sudden some veil was lifted and all eyes were on me. Of course, there were on others in the film, but The Godfather gave me a new identity that was hard for me to cope with. Gliss, what's your favorite Al Pacino movie? It isn't The Godfather for me.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go. It's not Scarface.
I like Scarface a lot, but that's
I
not
like
it
it
either
too.
for
I
me.
think my favorite is Heat.
That's a great movie.
It's a
That is
great
a
movie.
really
A
great
little
movie.
underrated, maybe. Great cast, and yeah, that's an intense action flick. I think that's probably my favorite.
Dog Day Afternoon is my favorite Al Pacino movie.
Okay.
And it's my favorite movie because he had to act. Like, he really had to give it up. You know what I'm saying? It's a strong performance from one of the greatest actors to ever live, no doubt. I that would be my favorite one. I like his performance. He started getting all hoorah as he got older, though. But what's the one where he played the blind man that was driving around in the car?
Oh,
I should know it.
yeah. What is the name of that movie? It's like it just like floated through my brain.
What is the name of that movie? Come on, Mario, you know the name of the movie.
Scent of Woman.
Yes, The Scent of. I take a flamethrower to this thing. He drove the sports car, which was a terrible idea. That movie is great too. But I gotta be honest and say that Dog Day Afternoon is my favorite Pacino film. He literally and figuratively stole that picture, and he did it in The Godfather. Godfather 2, he's a monster in that movie, man. He is like, look, I will show you all how good I am as an actor. He's a very, very competent actor. I just think he became more of the caricature of him with the yelling and the screaming and all of that. And with that in mind, I have a question for the room. What's a classic movie that you've never watched? What is a classic movie that you've never watched? You can join us on backchannel.tv, not one dot, backchannel.tv, and jump in the poll question there. You can do it on YouTube, and you can also do it on your Amazon supported device by saying the word "say." What's a classic movie you've never watched, Bliss?
Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of older classic movies that I haven't seen. You know, like I haven't seen Casablanca.
Oh wow.
Some of the ones from back then. Is there more stuff going on in the apartment?
No, this is outside. It sounds like a lot of helicopters happening.
Oh.
Do I look like I'm that was really loud. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of those older black and white movies, I haven't seen a ton of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm trying to think.
What
classic movie have I not watched? Damn, that's a good one. I think I've watched all of them. Really?
I guess part of it depends on what you would consider a classic movie.
There's that. Okay, that's a train. There's a lot happening in my neighborhood. I just want to make sure that the attack wasn't happening while we were talking. I think one of the classic movies that I've never watched. Gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue, which is probably why I didn't watch it. I've never watched Gone with the Wind from beginning to end. I watch it in segments. Right. I've seen Citizen Kane a million times. I don't know. I guess classic movies I've seen, or I've tried to at least see them. I used to be in a class when I was in high school. We had to watch all those movies, so I think I've seen most of them. But if you, I'm curious as to what classic movie people have not seen. Okay, there's a whole, you know what, man? There's a different conversation happening in the chat, and I don't think any of these people are talking to me or you.
We'll have to investigate that further, but
I think we're gonna have to.
We should probably break.
Yeah, we should. You want to do? Let's do that. Let's take a
Let's
break
do it.
for a moment, and when we come back, we've got Greg Hoops Peterson. I do believe that's why we're breaking early. It's The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon supported device, and we will be right back. Welcome back to The Drive with Mario Smith here on Backchannel.tv, YouTube, and on your Amazon supported devices. Thanks for being a passenger today on The Drive. Truly appreciate your patronage, and we're glad that you folks are here. I want to introduce someone to you. His name is Greg Hoops Peterson. He's the host of the Greg Peterson Experience, Betting the Bracket, and the Coast to Coast Hoops podcast. He's also a contributor to DraftKings Nation, and allegedly he runs and does a podcast at the same time, which I don't believe, but I'm about to get an answer now. Greg, what's up, man? It's a pleasure to meet you.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me jump off with Greg. Hold on. We'll figure this out real quick.
See, Mario. This happens to me on the radio show. I do the greatest introductions in the world.
I know,
and
right?
then something happens. Hold on, Greg, because we're
me and Greg will be right back.
Okay, cool. I'll see you in a second. If anybody, hey, by the way, since we're talking about radio, I will be at Lumpen Radio tomorrow for news from the service entrance. You can catch that show. It starts at 2 p.m. Central Time on lumpenradio.com, LUMPEN. And tomorrow morning, the latest edition of Who You Got with Mike and Mario comes out on Podbean. And we have a new episode of that tomorrow morning around 10 Central. Who You Got? It's a music show. It's really good, and I think you like it. I hope you like it anyway. We're going to do a take two on my great introduction because I am the master of introducing people and then having something happen where I either mess up or my equipment is bad or something like that. We'll get Greg back in here in just a moment. Let's check and see what's happening in the yeah, Andrew, you know, it's a thing. Layla has joined the stream. She's in Texas. Hey there. Andrew's, where's Hamster? Kinsley's here and Melinda is here as well. I think Andrew's in Oklahoma. Mo is here. Julie. All you guys, cats and kittens, hello. Appreciate you all being here. Very, very much. I'm going to check with Bliss real quick to see where we're at. And I can't give us a break, unfortunately. But we're good. We're good. And I can't find the picture that I wanted of me with hair, but we'll do it some other time. Fear not. Hey guys, did you know? Speaking of things, while we wait on those folks to come back, 17% of us considered breaking up with our significant other because they did not share their food. I have not dated a million women in my life, but a few. And not one time did I go, I'm going to leave this woman because she didn't share her food with me. Who are these people that they're talking about? Has that happened to any of you guys? You like, yo, I love you, but because you refuse to share, that is the pettiest you know what in the world. Hey, baby, everything is going great. Our relationship is the strongest it's ever been, but I'm leaving you because you did not share your food with me. That's insane. Let's see another one. Most people can recognize the sound in 0.05 seconds. I believe that. Um, According to careerbuilder.com, employer fashion pet peeves are number 3, flip flops. Why would you wear flip flops to work? Number 2, sneakers. And number 1, an unironed shirt. Layla says, hi, God bless. Hey, how are you? And let's see, one more. Hold on. I'll get another one. 1 out of every 3 American adults admit that they haven't made a crank phone call since high school. I wasn't a crank phone call maker, but I appreciate the crank phone call. I was too scared to make a crank phone call because my voice when I was younger was very distinctive, and you would have known it was me. And then that ruins the joke. I think when I was really, really little, I used to always call the operator just so I could talk to somebody on the phone because I thought talking on the phone was a grown-up thing. So it's a lot going on in my life back then. I tried to hold it down as best as I could, but I didn't know any better, so I talked on the phone. By the way, if you're wondering about the latest in the Major League Baseball lockout, they are still talking at this hour. They apparently are not far apart from a settlement or an agreement, if you will, but they remain in New York City, the lawyers for the players and the owners. The 162 game season is still on the table. They would make those games up on off days. And right now it's like 6 games they would be making up. And the deadline is today. This is the day. It may not be today, it may be tonight, but the deadline is real and the season is in jeopardy. And I must say, if there's no baseball season, well, if there's no 162 game baseball season, the owners stand to still make money because I'm coming back. You're probably coming back. If you're of a certain age, you're not going to leave baseball now. The question is, how do you cater your product that's archaic in the way you market it to people who either don't like baseball or are younger? How do you get those folks interested in wanting to sit in the ballpark for 2.5 hours, sometimes 3, to watch a game? What are you doing to promote the players who play the game well? How do you make this game more accessible for people in the city? I understand the dangers of living in the city, in particular areas of a city, but baseball was our thing when we were young, and it was pretty dangerous, I imagine, back then, if I remember correctly. Maybe not as it is now, but it was. And we somehow found a way. How do you take a great thing like baseball and make it greater? It isn't speeding the game up. It isn't doing all these tricks with a pitch clock and all that. You have to figure out how to make your game better and how people perceive the game and what makes them want to play it. And I'm afraid that they haven't done that yet. Hey, look, everybody, Jay Gliss.
What's up?
Hey.
So, yeah, this is like the week of technical issues. I don't know what the hell is going on.
Oh, no, we can't get Greg?
So let's try this real quick. I'm going to try to bring him back up in just a second here. And if there is an issue with it, I have a way to kind of try to troubleshoot this. It just might take a couple minutes, but let's
try it again. See. Can you hear me?
Let's see if that did something.
Look at
there
that.
We go.
It's a miracle.
There we go.
What's up, Boo?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me. Sorry about that. I have no idea what was going on. They didn't want me to be heard because I was very angry about Arizona State blowing a 17-point lead.
I can only imagine.
I told you he lives and sleeps and eats. Everything revolves around college basketball. So you got to ask him that question again because I need to know the answer to that question.
Do you actually record your podcast while you're running 12 miles?
Now do I talk into the microphone while running? No. Now I will actually do a lot of advanced research. I'll be taking a look to see what is all going on. I'm checking scores and everything like that. I don't actually talk into the microphone or else you get a very jumbled up and not so great podcast where my dulcet tones would be sounding very, very
I would imagine. Talking about college basketball, this is a big week leading up to the day that we find out who's in the tournament and who doesn't make the tournament, who may go to the NITs and all those things. Gonzaga looks really good. I've been trying to get everybody on the bandwagon to start watching college basketball again because tournament time was coming up. Gonzaga looks great. There are a lot of the SEC schools that look decent. Here in Illinois, the University of Illinois looks really good. I don't know how good they're going to be in a tournament. My fellow alum, Jawan Howard, is coaching a team that may or may not get in.
They're getting in.
You think so?
Yep, they're getting in. That win over Ohio State on Sunday, that got them in.
I got them in. Where are we at with teams that we think are getting in that may not get in the tournament?
Well, Wake Forest took a cataclysmically bad loss about 30 minutes ago. They were up 10 points with about 5 minutes left to go against Boston College. Then they made like your buddy at the bar could not close. That was not great to say the least. A team that they had beaten by 30 in January. They're up 10, could not get the job done. So that is a team that you want to be watching for on Selection Sunday. I do believe that Notre Dame is going to need to get one win to be able to get into the NCAA tournament. They're an intriguing bunch. They've been sort of up and down with their basketball program in recent years. They really put it together here in ACC play. If they wind up getting one win in the ACC tournament, that should be great. And if you're taking a look at the game right now, Xavier needs a win over Butler. If Xavier does not wind up getting this win, that would be an issue for them. If they're able to clear this game, they wind up losing to a better opponent out there at Madison Square Garden. They should be in. But like right now, because last I checked, Xavier and Butler, they were pretty much tied up. This is a big game for them.
Duke is they're enjoying the victory tour for Coach Krzyzewski. That loss against North Carolina, I know it doesn't hurt them in getting in the tournament, but it will affect their seeding. What does Duke look like to you in this tournament?
Duke is a team that I think is probably going to wind up with a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, and I think that they're one of the more solid teams that you're going to find in college basketball. Now, they do have a little bit of inconsistency, but Paul Banchero is a guy that you're going to be seeing in the NBA as a top 5 pick. He is absolutely tremendous. He's 6'9". He's able to pop threes, does a good job of being able to rebound, can guard multiple positions. He is tremendous. What I think is going to be the X factor for this Duke team, though, is a veteran by the name of Wendell Moore. Came out of high school with a lot of fanfare, has stuck around for a few years. In the months of November and December, he was averaging 17 points per game. And quite honestly, in the months of November and December, I thought he was a top 5 player in all of college basketball. Fallen off the table ever since then, averaging more around 10 to 11 points per game, but a little bit more pedestrian, turning the ball over a little bit more. So I think that that's really going to determine how far Duke is able to go into the NCAA tournament, how Wendell Moore winds up playing for this team.
I got to ask about 2 teams here in Illinois. I'm in Chicago, and Loyola, God bless them, they find a way. You don't even have to call them Loyola Chicago anymore. If you hear Loyola, it's not Marymount or any other Loyola. It's definitely Loyola from the northern shore of our fine city. And seeing them in the tournament again, they play defense really, really well. I don't know if they've played as well this season as they have in the past. By them winning their tournament, they are in the big dance. What do you see for Loyola? And then I want to talk about the University of Illinois, but what about Loyola? How do they look to you?
Even though you've had a coaching regime change because Porter Moser, he winds up going to Oklahoma. Now you've got Mr. Valentine at the helm for this team. They still do play relatively solid defense. It's been a very slight fall off from past years, but I mean, it's like going from a top 15 team in defense to a top 25 team. So they're still relatively the same team. They do need a little bit of help on the glass. They don't have a single guy that gives them more than 5 rebounds per game, but that's Loyola Chicago. They're not a team that's necessarily going to hit the offensive glass, give themselves second chances, but at the same time, they don't allow you to get second chances either. This is a team that, as long as they don't run into a team with a whole bunch of size, I think that they're going to be fine. If they wind up going up against a team that they like to take a bunch of threes or looking to dictate the tempo, they're going to be just fine. So I do think that this is a loyal Chicago team that, if they get the right matchup, they could wind up finding themselves in the Sweet 16 once again. Wrong matchup could be a little bit tough for them.
I'm hoping that Loyola. I have a friend whose daughter goes in, who's graduating in a couple of months, and I'm pulling for them every time. For the last 4 years, I'm like, yo, go Loyola. It's so cool to see a team from the city, and we have several of them, but it's so cool to see a team from the city actually really play basketball the right way, and that coaching change didn't hurt them a bit. And it's weird that dude's 29 years old. He's 30-something years old. He's a little bit older than
youngest coach in all of college basketball.
Yeah, he's amazing. Drew Valentine, I believe is his name. He does really well. Yep. Now, the University of Illinois, Kofi Cockburn, definitely going to be a lottery pick, I think, in the NBA. But they, last year against Loyola Chicago, kind of just didn't play basketball, even though Ayo Dosunmu, who normally was who was on a run of having good games in the tournament prior to that and in the Big Ten tournament, didn't come to play. And most of those guys just let Loyola kind of dictate the game. What's going to be different for the University of Illinois this time, and how far do you think they'll go in the tournament?
I think that Illinois probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood about a 4 seed. They might be able to improve that a seed line. They might disimprove by a seed line depending on what happens in the Big Ten tournament. Big implications because the Big Ten is just wide and the heck open right now. So that is going to really dictate where their exact seeding is going to be. But I think that Illinois has the chops to be able to make a run to the second week of the NCAA tournament, and they could be a Final Four dark horse because this is a team that, as long as Jacob Granderson returns healthy, while missing the last game against Iowa, this is a team that they've got some good three-point shooting. Granderson's able to shoot 40% from three-point range. And then on top of that, Alfonso Plummer is one of the best sharpshooters in all of college basketball. Shoots over 85% of the free throw line. Shoots over 40% from three. He's come in from Utah. He has been absolutely superb for this team. And it's been really interesting to watch this backcourt because there was so much fanfare coming into the year about Andre Curbelo. I would argue that Illinois has been better with him off the floor rather than with him on because you've got a fifth-year guy in Trent Frazier who has done a really good job of being the heart and soul of this team. Just a guy that winds up making winning plays, doesn't turn the ball over a lot. And then you mentioned with Kofi Cockburn, one of the most immovable objects in all of college basketball.
Oh, yeah.
20 points, 10 boards. He is just a man among boys out there. It is absolutely tremendous to watch him play. So I think that Illinois, they have a good chance of being able to make a deep run in March. And I do like their overall game because they're a very balanced team.
Kofi Cockburn doesn't have the size of a Shaquille O'Neal, but he has the whole, this is all mine. This lane is mine. I will get out of it in 3 seconds, but those 3 seconds, those 2.5 seconds I'm there. I'm stronger than you. And it's been fun watching him develop over the years. Heading out to the West Coast, I was digging UCLA earlier this year, and I think they're a good basketball team. I don't know if they're a good tournament team, though. What are you thinking about a team like UCLA?
Well, they proved that they are a good tournament team last year when they went from the first four to the final four. So this is a team that they've got experience, and pretty much everyone from that team last year is back in the fold. Johnny Juzang has been dealing with a little bit of an injury, but he should be pretty close to 100% come the NCAA tournament. What I think is really key for this team is that they're better down low this year. They brought in a Rutgers transfer by the name of Miles Johnson. Not a guy that's going to give you a whole lot of scoring, but he gives you right around 5 to 6 rebounds. He gives you a block and a half per game. That's something that UCLA was really lacking last year. And the guy that really goes under the radar, kid by the name of Tiger Campbell. He does a great job of dishing out the ball. He only turns the ball over about 1 time per contest. As a matter of fact, in terms of turnovers on a per possession basis, UCLA is in the top 8 in all of college basketball. And Tiger Campbell, he shot 25% from three-point range last year. He's shooting over 40% this year. His development has really went under the radar. That's a big reason why I do think that UCLA could duplicate what they wound up doing last year. They're going to need to get the right matchups. They're probably going to be seated right around a 3-ish right now, depending on how they wind up doing in the Pac-12 tournament. But I'm in on this UCLA team. I think that they've got the goods.
Top seed?
I don't think that they're going to be a 1 seed. I think that they're probably going to be finding themselves right around a 3 seed line. But if they wind up going up against a team like, say, a Baylor in the Sweet 16 Elite 8, I think that they could take them down.
Is Baylor somebody that we should be keeping our eye on? I know they did quite well, clearly, last year, but things have changed for them a bit. Where are we at with Baylor?
Baylor's a team that they're probably going to be looking at either a 1 or a 2 seed, depending on what winds up happening in the Big 12 tournament. That's another tournament that is going to be wide open. With Kansas being out there, that 1 through 10 is probably just the toughest conference in all of college basketball. But you do take a look at this Baylor team, and the big thing for them, and a reason why I'm out on them a little bit more, is that their top rebounder, his name is Jonathan Tchamwa-Tchatchoua. He wound up getting injured in February. He is going to be out for the NCAA tournament and the rest of the season. Now, it is a team that they do have some good facilitation in James Akinjo. He is the key to this team. If he winds up doing a good job protecting the ball, doesn't wind up committing turnovers, because Baylor last year, they had a bunch of great guards on their team. You wind up having guys like Maceo Teague and company leave in the offseason to the NBA, but I do think that if he's able to take care of the ball, Baylor's a team that they can get back to the Final Four. If he does not, it could be a situation where you do wind up seeing Baylor go out to a team like I referenced a little bit earlier in UCLA.
We're with Greg Peterson from the Greg Peterson Experience, Betting the Bracket and the Coast to Coast Hoops podcast. He's also a contributor to DraftKings. And speaking of betting, I'm not a big gambler, as I often say on the show. I am not a gambler. But if I was to lay a wager down, what does this Final Four look like, and who should I be thinking about putting some of my hard-earned cash on?
Now, when it comes to betting on teams that are going to be able to make a run to the Final Four, I always believe that you want to see the bracket before you wind up putting down any money. So absolutely. I will throw that out there right now, because this is a year in which in college basketball, Gonzaga is probably your number one team, but the difference between, say, Gonzaga and I would say the number 10 team in college basketball, it's as slim as we've seen it since, I would say, 2014. If you remember that year, that's where you had 7 seed UConn win the NCAA tournament. Absolutely. So it is a wide open year. So you want to be taking a look there. If there's a team that I think is least prone to an early upset, I think that that's the best way of putting it, is Kentucky. They've got a guy by the name of Oscar Tshiebwe who's giving you 15 rebounds per game. He is doing things down low that we have not seen in eons. He is a nice throwback player. He has been absolutely tremendous for a Kentucky team that all of a sudden they've got shooting as well. What has hurt Kentucky in past years in the NCAA tournament is that they haven't necessarily had those guys that are able to go bombs away from three. They've been very inconsistent on the perimeter. They brought in a fifth-year guy by the name of Kellen Grady, who shoots 44% from three-point range. Ty Washington has come in as a freshman. He has been tremendous for this team. Wound up dealing with some injuries, but he and Xavier Wheeler are going to be healthy for the NCAA tournament. And it's a Kentucky team that they always seem to peak in March. John Calipari does a great job of being able to get his team prepared for a late run in the NCAA tournament. I think that he's done so once again. So if I'm looking for a team that I would say, if you're looking in terms of like a stock term here, is most recession proof, Kentucky is that team.
Who should we be looking for to come out of this tournament to be the sleeper player of the tournament?
The sleeper player, that is a good question, because you've got a couple guys. If you're going to be taking a look at a team that's only going to be playing in one game, but could wind up making a little bit of noise, Peter Kiss over there at Bryant. He's averaging 25 points per contest. You may recall you ought to see that brawl in the sands between Wagner and Bryant yesterday, but in that game in which Bryant was able to win to be able to get to the NCAA tournament, Peter Kiss outscored Wagner 19-12 by himself in the first half. That is absolutely insane right there. So that is something to take a look at. And if you wind up seeing a team by the name of Utah Valley make the NCAA tournament, you've got a guy by the name of Fadas Amick. He winds up coming over from Canada. He's 6'11". He gives you 14 rebounds per game, and he shoots over 40% from three-point range. I am pulling for this team to be able to win the WAC tournament that is going down out here in lovely Las Vegas, because if Utah Valley makes the NCAA tournament, we're going to see this very special kid. I think that he's going to be playing in the NBA. He's got a unique skill set, and if he winds up being able to get in the NCAA tournament, look out, because he could go out for like 30 and 20.
Before I spring you, thank you for being here. First of all, I hope we get a chance to have you back as the tournament progresses, because I still have a zillion questions to ask you. But before I go, if you were to make a Super Bowl prediction, Gonzaga is not going to win the championship, are they?
Gonzaga, I think, has a shot to be able to win it. I would still put my money down right now. The one team that I'd be taking is Kentucky, just because they are that team that has the defense. They are very good down low with Oscar Tshiebwe. they're the team that I would be looking at to have the best chance of being able to win the NCAA tournament. Once again, this is a situation which you want to be taking a look at the bracket. I think that it is very matchup based this year, but just in the dark, not knowing any seeding or anything like that, I like Kentucky.
I am very Gliss. You got anything, bro? You please, by all means.
No, I think you covered it all. I'm just happy to see Greg. I haven't seen him in years, and I remember when he left the station that we both used to work at and moved to Vegas, and look at him now.
Right. That's pretty cool, man. Hey, Greg, you got to tell Brent Musburger hello.
Oh, I will for you. Absolutely.
When I was a little kid, Brent Musburger held it down in Chicago for many, many years at WBBM TV. He was the number one sportscaster on earth in my mind. And that dude is like one of the nicest people in the world. And he doesn't know me or remember me rather from a can of paint, but please tell him hello. I think he's a great, great guy. And I love the fact that he embraces gambling on television like nobody else outside of Al Michaels, maybe. He is like, look, this is disappointing. My pockets are crying. Thanks so much for being on the show, man. Everybody, Greg Peterson, you guys. And he'll be back, definitely. And good luck in the tournament, brother. I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Mario. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Greg Peterson, everybody. He is the host of the Greg Peterson Experience, Betting the Bracket, and the Coast to Coast Hoops podcast. He's also a contributor to DraftKings. You'll be seeing him again on the show. Wow, Gliss, that was awesome. He is like a basketball.
I told you.
Indeed.
I told you. Because he's the best in the business. He puts in the work.
Wow. So, all right, I don't bet, but guess what Mario's doing? He's going to bet on Kentucky. Because I think Kentucky's going to win it all. And then I had to do the TV thing where I had to stare into the camera so it could look like we were looking at each other, but we really weren't. But we really were, actually. We were looking at each other. We got a couple of minutes, man. I haven't checked on our friends, our passengers, make sure they haven't tore our car up.
Yeah, so, yeah.
What are all these numbers?
So I was going to say, so it's actually a good thing. I was monitoring this during Greg's interview.
Yeah.
And I almost, I was going to say this 100 million, that was going to be the last number. And luckily there was no other numbers because I was getting ready to remove him from
what does
Backchannel.
it mean?
I have no idea. I think he's just counting, which is fine, but it's kind of, it's kind of blowing up the thing.
What are you, Andrew, are you having a stroke? Why are you counting all these numbers, bro? What's going on? I hate to ask if someone's having a stroke. I'm just saying, you okay? Take it easy. I think, we're going to have a post-show meeting.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it. Like I said, luckily it didn't come to that, but I was about to pull the trigger. In fact, the only thing that I had to pull up an email on instructions, the protocol, because they want us to take note of anything that's becoming a nuisance, and I was ready to pull the trigger on him, but he stopped. So.
All right, guys, look, I'll stop this car and everybody will get out.
Not that we don't want people to be involved and enjoy the chat, but come on now, let's.
You cannot take over something.
Just blow it up counting numbers. We all know how to count to 100.
Yeah, and if you counted to 1,000 million or whatever, dude, you're lying. Jamie's on the stream in Colorado. Peace, Jamie. Gina has joined us as well as Dakota and Luke. I feel compelled to say that every time I say Luke. I have to say Milo. Okay, it's either a dog or a human or a group of people listening together with the dog.
I hope it's not the dog because I put him in the kennel before the show.
I think Milo's like, man, I'm missing the drive. I'm missing.
Like, I want to sneak out of here.
I gotta get out of here. They gotta be talking about something important. That was really cool to have Andrew on, man. I'm glad that we did that. Yeah. So the rest of sports was boring compared to that. This is a lot happening. The baseball talks are still going, as far as I can tell. I haven't gotten any updates on my
See, that's all I'm waiting for. I'm discouraged because baseball has not started yet. So I'm just like, that's all that's on my mind in sports right now. Well, now the tournament too, because that got me hyped up.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty fired up now. I'm watching all of it. I'm not even going to watch the Bulls play Detroit tonight. Whatever. Good luck. Good luck, guys. I hope you win. If they don't beat Detroit tonight, though, that is a problem. And that would be 6 in a row for the Bulls if they don't win. When we come back, we will have our front of mind story about something that happened here in Illinois at a zoo. I didn't know it happened here until I read it. With the Drive with Mario Smith. The last. We'll see you in a moment here on Backchannel.tv. We'll be right back. You got to put the picture up of this animal so that while I'm reading this, people will see it, man. This is, oh my goodness, my heartstrings have been pulled.
Yeah, I'll get it up for you.
Holy moly. An Illinois zoo is celebrating, this is in Coal Valley, Illinois. Illinois Zoo is celebrating after the successful births of 2 endangered cubs. Niabi Zoo in Coal Valley, I don't know where Coal Valley is, announced the birth of the Amur leopard cubs in a Facebook post yesterday. Fewer than 100 individual leopards exist in the wild, and it is the most critically endangered big cat in the world, according to the zoo. Look at that, will you? Oh my goodness gracious. Look at that. You can't see it yet, but you will. It's so cute. This is too much. I don't even do that. The zoo says there have only been 7 others born in the U.S. In 2021. The Niabi Zoo partnered with the Amur Leopard Species Survival Planning Group in 2019. The zoo received and housed one of several Amur leopards brought over from zoos in Europe to breed with its male Amur leopard, Jin. The zoo eventually received Iona from the Bigby Hall Wildlife Gardens in Great Britain in July of 21. The zoo said a third cub was born, but only lived a few days. The 2 surviving cubs, a male and female, are fortunately thriving, and they are the cutest thing you ever seen. Look at that. Go to the other one. Oh my goodness gracious. Show the other one, Gliss. Look at this. Oh, that thing is gonna eat a human if it gets big. Oh,
it is pretty adorable though.
It's adorable.
And that's good news too. Like endangered species. Look at those little guys. We need more of those.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, we don't want them to eat us, but we don't. We want more of them.
More of that and less counting on the chat. That would be great. But look at it. It's like, hi, everybody. I'm a tiny leopard. It's still a leopard, though. It is bound to eat someone. And that's what it wants to do. It wants to chase you, catch you, mangle you around, and throw you around in its mouth and then eat you.
It looks like it's like looking at you right now. Like
it's directly
I'm going to grow up and eat you.
Good luck, leopard. You got to find me, buddy. Unless you can climb a building, I'm safe. That was pretty cool, man. Well, we saw a lot today. A picture of me with hair and 2 leopard cubs. We had a great conversation with Greg Peterson. We found out that our chat has been infiltrated by people who like to count. What else have we learned today? That I may or may not have had a Rastafarian hat on my head. I'm definitely going to find as many pictures of me with dreadlocks that I can find, and I'm going to send it to you, and we'll just periodically throw them on the screen, Gliss. We're not here tomorrow.
I know.
Rats. I feel like I did miss a day because somebody weren't here. And we'll do the program in a minute. On this date in 1944, Casablanca, that you mentioned earlier, won Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay at the Academy Awards in Los Angeles. In 1962, although there are some people who refute that this actually happened because, quote, there was no video, but come on, it was 1962, Wilt Chamberlain is the first player to score 100 points in an NBA game. In 2014, during the 2014 Academy Awards, John Travolta introduced Idina Menzel as Adele Dazeem. I also thought he was having a stroke when he said that before her performance of Let It Go.
I'm gonna have to find that video to play on here sometime. I actually remember that, but
I do too. It was so good because
so
he's like
bad.
Adele Dazeem.
I'm sorry, what?
What? Who's that? Adele hadn't even started singing yet. Adele doesn't. And he said it like he knew he messed up. But he just he was like, Adele. And he kind of faded away with his wig on, because that's a mean toupee John Travolta had there. Who knew? Singer-songwriter John Bon Jovi's birthday is today. He's 60 years old. Who knew? I always see Bon Jovi's being a young guy. Actor Daniel Craig, who hates playing James Bond but played him 5 times, his birthday is today. He's 54. And actress Rebel Wilson from Bridesmaids and Pitch Perfect 2 is 42 years old. And Bryce Dallas Howard from The Village and Jurassic World.
Ron Howard's 41. Kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul McCartney, on this date in 1996, denied reports that the surviving Beatles were considering reuniting for a 22-city tour for $225 million. I don't know why they didn't do it. Oh, that would have been dope. And once a song that I'm telling you, if you play it around me, I'll leave. If you want me to get out your house, just play it. One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. I love Boyz II Men, but
me too.
That song, One Sweet Day, is.
What's the deal with the song?
I used to hear it so much.
Yeah,
Bliss. I used to hear it so much, and it was one of those songs that when I was trying to get my radio career back because of the fake fight I got into in Greenville, South Carolina, when I would do like practice air checks and stuff, I had to play it because I had to keep it going. And
they were hot. They were hot at that time. Back in that time, yeah. I was a kid, but that was. Yeah, that's when I was starting to get into music, and I loved Boyz II Men.
I still do. I think they are.
I still do too.
The best of the boy bands was Boyz II Men, hands down. Shout out to my man Michael Bivins for discovering those dudes. They were it.
That Boyz II Men 2 album.
It's one of the best albums ever made.
Such a good album.
Also needs to be on my list. I should get that and Dark Side of the Moon together.
Need it. Yeah.
One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men remained at number 1 forever for 14 weeks in a row, tying a record set by Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You and Boyz II Men's I'll Make Love to You, a song I absolutely love. I can hear that a billion times. But One Sweet Day, I don't know, there's something about it's a great song. I don't want to say it's not. It's just they played it so bloody much. It was like every day they played it over and over and over. And they did. For 14 weeks, it was the number 1 song in the U.S. A California company unveiled a vending machine that uses robotics to make pizzas in about 3 minutes. I'm frowning as a Chicagoan and the way we feel about pizza. I don't know if I want a 3-minute pizza. Piestro, based in El Segundo, unveiled a pizza machine that builds pies to the specifications of customers who select their own crust, sauce, cheese, and toppings. The machine has a large window so customers can watch their pizzas being built before they go into a special oven that cooks the meal in about 2 minutes. No. The entire process takes about 3 minutes. Piestro is the name. I'm sorry. It's taking see what they did? It's taking pre-orders for the $100,000 machines, which they market to airports, schools, colleges, and high-rise buildings. And I'll tell you what, I probably wouldn't need it, but I'd definitely get one of those machines and stick it in a dorm somewhere. No, I wouldn't, because somebody would be, you can't do it at a college because they'd tear the machine up and try to get all the pizzas out of it. I'd do it in like a elementary school. Those kids don't have enough time to do that. Here's an interesting thing. I love that you put this up, bro. People who became words. Okay? People who became words. General John Taliaferro Thompson, the Tommy gun. I'm going to skip around. Yeah. Robert William Bunsen, German chemist, the Bunsen burner. Augustus Caesar, August. Daniel Elmer Salmon, American veterinarian, salmonella.
Makes sense.
I suppose. Ambrose, General Ambrose Everett Burnside, sideburns.
I like that one.
I do too. Guy Fawkes, a terrorist. Guy. Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus. Marigold. Franz Anton Mesmer. I did not know this. Austrian physician. Mesmerize.
I like that one.
Yeah. Oscar Pierce. Oscar Pierce. Oscar.
Makes sense.
And Rastafari. Haile Selassie Rastafarian is the name. Axel Paulson, Norwegian figure skater, Axel. And Sir Robert Peel, founder of the London Police Force. Bobby. The Bobbies.
There you go.
Look at that. Look at what we did today. We've done so much, so much for the world.
It did feel like an action-packed show.
It was. It was. It was action on the stream, action everywhere. Elizabeth, Alex, and my brother's name is Jackson. Hey guys, Emma in California, Elizabeth's in Maine. Emma has joined us as well. I said that, I think. Jack, Eilick, Clementine in Pennsylvania. Thank you guys for joining us on the stream. I know you all were probably playing games on your Amazon supported device. It's somehow it led you here. I hope you come back and join us. Bliss, what a show.
It was a good one.
Memories forever.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about, my friend. I will talk to you shortly.
Sounds good.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
What a day. If you want to join more of the fun, mirth, and hey, Pamela in Washington. Hi there. We're about to go, though. If you want to catch us and catch more of this, please join backchannel.tv at 6 a.m. Eastern with Haley and Allison as they begin our broadcast day. A programming note, I will be gone tomorrow as I will be on my terrestrial radio show here in Chicago, News from the Service Entrance. If you want to, you can catch me starting at 2 p.m. Central at lumpenradio.com or just Google News from the Service Entrance and it'll tell you how to find me. On behalf of everyone at backchannel.tv, we also want to thank our guest, Greg Hoops Peterson, for being on the show today. On behalf of everyone at backchannel.tv, as the sun begins to set in Chicago, Illinois, my name is Mario Smith. Thank you so much for watching us, and we will see you on Friday, and you can join us again, 6 a.m. Eastern, tomorrow morning. Peace.